Yeah. I got my crystals out here charging, but I'm gonna put this out here, okay? I'm about to come outside and put my slippers on. But I wanted to I forgot earlier. Let's go. Let's put this up. But I forgot earlier. Come on, Keita, let me get my slippers. I got clothes out. Hold on, y'all guys. Hold on, y'all guys. Cause today is my laundry day. So that scripture, right? Because I got distracted earlier. I had got distracted earlier when I was going to quote that scripture. When my mom was quoting that scripture, and I be telling y'all I use mine as metaphors, charging up my crystals. But it's a nice hot day today too, y'all. Nice and hot. Okay, I've been watching Clues today. So that scripture, and then people say, "Oh, you're an antichrist," but I use it as metaphor, and that's what it's supposed to be meant for. Basically, it's supposed to be meant for metaphors. So that scripture, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Okay, let's think about it. And I'll ask that question. And pastors don't like when you ask questions. But let's go ahead and ask this question. Okay, you know when they say that, right? Let me ask you, how many people that's been sitting in churches, right? How many people has been sitting in churches that somebody came in there, came in there and unalived a lot of people while they was praying to the vine? Remember that one? I guess he was from Lexington or somewhere in Augusta, Georgia. Excuse me for 1 second, because I'm gonna hang these up real quick. Okay. Black your keto. So let's go and think. How many people, and this is not against, religion or anything like that. I'm just saying, how many people, remember that boy came from Lexington, all the way from Lexington, South Carolina. And not only that, from back in the day, they came up there, burned up churches, all that other stuff while people was in there praying. You know, so she was saying, she quoted that scripture. Because I was telling her, like, people, you don't understand that people are doing witchcraft out here, da-da-da-da-da. And she was like, you know, if no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And I said to her, how many things has prospered, you know, while people was in church? And then I said, what y'all do is, after you'll say that, you know, after we'll bring that up, you'll go and say, you won't bring up a scripture after that. What they'll say is, well, that must have been meant to happen. God meant that to happen. But you just said, you know, but you just said the scripture where no weapon formed against me shall prosper. But there has been weapons formed against people while they was in church. Guns, knives, you know. So how do you explain that? It was just a question, like, how do you explain that then? If you're saying no weapon formed against me shall prosper, but there's been plenty of weapons formed against us prosper. Some people say, well, it was just a time. It was just this time. So you telling me a devil was able to come in, but that's what I be saying about. So this is what I be saying about. This is what I be saying about Keto. Okay, Keto, what's up? What's up? You want to say hi? Okay. All right. I know that's right. Okay. I know. I love you too. But this is a warm day today. All right, Keto. This is a warm day today. Okay. All right. But y'all won't quote another scripture after that. After they promote the truth about that, you won't come up with another scripture. What you'll say, you'll do some worldly terms next, and you'll say, well, that was just meant to happen. That was God's timing or something like that. But you know what I say, because I always say it on my channel. You know what I say, because I always say it on my channel? That's that level of, you know, them chakras being in alignment, you know, because if you're a real, true chosen one, okay, this is where we're at now, and this is awakening right now. Well, all this, you know, awakening with the fast changes and stuff like that, fast changes with alignment, 144,000 frequency is going to be fast changes with that. Well, this shit is not, that's why they said you're going to be in peace. That's why they said in the last days, chosen one's going to be in peace. You outbeat the devil and all that stuff. That, if you don't understand that, and the mark of the beast, if you don't understand the mark of the beast is your mindset. Because basically 666 means electrons, neutrons, protons, which means man, the number of man. It's not actual beast coming out the sea. Sea in Hebrew used to mean the land. So there's a beast coming out the land. And there will be some people, because they're not awakened, they're going to still be stuck in the matrix and stuck with man-made disasters and going through their own hell in their mind. You know what I'm saying? Going through the same cycle over and over again instead of changing their mind thought. You know what I'm saying? Changing their mindset. Still going through the same shit, wondering why nothing ain't moving, because you're going someplace where it's just here. It's just stuck here. Nobody's teaching you how to open up your chakras. All they doing is giving you a free speech and let you leave, and you still behind the scenes suffering. And that doesn't make any sense to me. You still behind the scenes suffering. You still leaving it the same. You still leaving there with that junky ass car. You ain't getting no bills paid, nothing. No bills is being paid. You still got to go work a 9 to 5 and get your bills being paid. You know, these people won't even pay your bills when it's time. You pay your dues, you pay your offering. They won't even pay your bills. They won't even give you no food when your kid's hungry. Why are you going to a food bank when you can put all this money into this church? I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody want to quote scriptures. Everybody want to say a truth teller or a whistleblower is just a demon or they're an antichrist. That's who y'all want to call the antichrist. But let's just think about it. if you're not okay. Now I'm gonna put it this way, because I'm gonna tell you I got nothing against religion at all. This is the thing I got against it. Divine was in alignment when he first came from birth. He was in alignment. He was so much in alignment, and his chakra was so in alignment that he walked away from his own mother and his father, and he knew he had a mission. You remember when they said Mary, when Mary first got pregnant, before she got pregnant, he said, "I'm gonna put a child in the virgin's womb," and our womb holds water and things like that, tubes and water, right? So water deals with intellect, emotions, this and that. That's why they say the baby can feel your emotions when they're in the body and when they're in your womb. So intellect, intuition, meaning you have insight on a lot of shit as a child when you're in the womb. That's why some babies come out, they already, you got to wonder why a baby come out crying. You ever think about that? They're not crying when they first come out. Why they got to get smacked, first before they start crying. Why they got to get smacked first? Why they can't, just start crying? Why do you want to hear a baby cry? So, getting back to that. Now, if you got people that meditate and they got all their chakras in alignment, meaning all the way up to their crown, they're not stuck. They can hear a sermon and they can go and they receive it and they can go home and they can really, 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 truly work on themselves. They're not just hearing something, and that's why just stay stuck. They forgot about the sermon. That's why you gotta keep going back to church every Sunday. And if you notice, every Sunday as you go to church, you hear the same scriptures over and over and over and over and over and over and over again since childhood. Like, tell me, why is that? Why are we hearing the same scriptures since childhood? Why it's not going no further? It's not going no further. That's weird to me. It's not going. I've been noticing that. That's why I became spiritual, because I'm like, all we hear is the same scriptures over and over. And y'all talk about anything else, and that don't mean you're a demon. That don't mean that you got a demon attachment because you don't want to hear it. I mean, you gotta get yourself out of this goddamn 3D Matrix shit, man. You're not driving me crazy with that Matrix shit, that MK Ultra shit. They be involved in that shit too, that MK Ultra shit. That's why they keep saying the same shit over and over. We already know that scripture. Like, it's embedded in you. That's what I'm saying. That's why when my mom said that, I said, okay, well, think about this. Well, if this said, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, how many people got unalived in the church while they was doing Bible study, while they was doing preaching? Why do you think that is? So let's now, what they're going to do is move from the Bible and go to the 3D. Well, that was just meant to be. It must have been their timing. You know why? Because they don't think no further than, here. They just quoting scriptures that they keep hearing over and over again. That's what I'm saying. That's that MK Ultra. You just quoting scriptures that you keep hearing over and over and over again. You can't think for yourself. You're thinking about what that preacher told you and quoting scriptures because it's already embedded in you. You're just quoting the same shit over and over again. If you think about it, like, yo, what the hell? You couldn't say nothing different. You couldn't say nothing different. You couldn't have your own thoughts. That should be weird as fuck. People is weird as fuck. And this is why I tell y'all gotta get your chakras in alignment. But a lot of people will tell you that's evil. You know who gonna tell you that's evil? People that's, know you chosen. They're gonna tell you that's evil. Don't open your third eye. The reason why, they don't want you to see through the fucking illusion. Like, especially if they know you're a chosen one. Don't do that. That's evil. You notice that? Everything you do, evil. If you're a chosen one, everything you touch, evil. Everything you say, evil. Everything, you are Antichrist. You are Antichrist. Motherfucker. An Antichrist is man. It could be anybody. An Antichrist is not just one person. An Antichrist can be somebody, you know, like I said, not going no further than this. So people be trying to fool you with that shit. Like, are you crazy? You just quoting scriptures over and over again. People is moving on from that. A lot of people waking up, and that's what they don't like. They're like, damn, every time we see one of you chosen ones, awakened ones that got a mission, here y'all go. Now we got to destroy you because you sitting up here speaking truth and facts, and you making a lot of sense. Nobody want to hear it, but what they're going to do is call you crazy. That's the first thing they do. You're crazy. I want to go back and see how many people call MLK crazy, Malcolm X crazy, Tupac crazy. I want to see, just line that up. JFK crazy, Ronald Reagan crazy. Just let's go all the way back when they first started their career and when they started becoming awakened while they're in their career. Let's see how many people they call crazy first, and they started defamation of their characters. Let's just go all the way back from the beginning of their lives, not in the beginning when they first was born, but when they started awakening, when they first started awakening with Malcolm X, when he went to jail, and he started awakening, when he got out, when he started awakening. I bet you my money people call him crazy. That man crazy. How many people call Harriet Tubman crazy? That woman crazy. Anybody, black, white, it don't matter. Anybody that's awakened, watch them call them crazy. And then the next thing you know, they start going through problems in life. They start going back and forth to jail. Then the next thing you know, they're sick. Then they're out of here. Because that'd be a whole master plan. They be setting motherfuckers up. Because they want things to stay the same. They want to be able to manipulate. They want to be able to basically keep people in the 3D. But like I said before, and I'm going to say this, I don't care who you are, politics or whatever, government, whatever. When too many people start awakening and raising their vibrations, and you see how hot it's getting, you know what I'm saying? It's probably 80 degrees right now. These people ain't going to be able to take this. This is why they call Revelation Apocalypse, which is that ancient snake, the one that eats your heart. Apocalypse. That's basically who it is. Apocalypse. Apocalypse. When they weigh out your heart of the wicked. That's why they call it, the Revelation means apocalypse. Meaning apocalypse. All the way back in ancient days. Y'all got to go check that out. Apocalypse is the one that eats your heart when you get weighed, when you're wicked. So when people become awakened, like you're trying to switch things around and you're trying to send out illusions to us, and we're awakened and shit like that. And our vibrations get all the way, you don't want our vibrations to get all the way to 144,000 frequency. You already know. Because once you get there, you basically you might as well just call yourself, because he said make you in the image of me, a god or a goddess. Goddess got God in it. So either way, you get what I'm saying? So people be sitting up there trying to play people that's real intelligent. Especially if you're after that person because they are intelligent and that they're a higher being. That's the whole point of it. You're after that person. They're a higher being and you know it. Whether you consider them an alien or whatever, they're not bothering you. So why the fuck you bothering them? And when you ask them that question, I'm going to tell you why they bothering you. Money. That's why they say money is the root. It's always been a root. Root. Trees. Since the beginning of time. Trees make money, right? They got to get the paper from the trees. The root. That's why they say it's the root of evil. You can pay that money in any euros. You can pay it any which way, but it's still a root. It comes from the beginning of time. Evil asses. Always thinking about some goddamn money. Not freedom, not justice. They're not thinking about that. The first thing on their mind is money. This is what your society has came to. Or people has came to. Just money. Just money. We wasn't living off money before. You think about it. How did they flourish before without money? That's what I'm saying. How did you flourish before? You had no money. You still was eating. Still was washing your ass. You still had perfume. You still had all this shit. You still had material shit. That shit they had back then was more banging than the shit y'all got now. Half the shit that y'all wearing now, they got that shit off of Egyptian. If you really look at it. If you really look at the way they used to wear things, like the flip-flops, they used to wear sandals. If you look at the Egyptian head dresses and stuff like that, if you really check that out, have y'all ever checked that out? The dresses, the Gucci, everybody got their shit off them. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. The gowns, all that shit. They just designed them a little bit different, but if you look, they all look like wedding gowns, all that shit. That's exactly where they got it from. And they started popping off of other people, flourishing off of other people's gifts. That's why we talking about that destiny swap and shit. That's part of destiny swapping too. Like, you do got some people that have their own design and shit like that. But if you really look back, they really started their design from, just think about it, their patterns. They got their patterns from ancient Kemet. Summer dresses. Take a look at it. Summer dresses, head dresses. When y'all be wearing them head dresses, when y'all be putting earrings in your eyes and all the other stuff, eyebrows, tattoos come from when they used to do their ancient Kemet eyes, had that shit tatted on their eyes, permanently on their eyes. Where do you think all that shit come from? Where do you think tattoos come from? The writing on the wall at ancient Kemet? Where do you think they get the idea of tattoos? That's why I be saying, see, motherfucker can't fool me. You know, a person can't fool me. But I just wanted to bring that back because I did skip over that. I was like, that scripture right there. You know, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. The only time a weapon shall not form against you and you prosper is when you know about it. Let's be honest. When you know about it. When you feel that shit vibrating. When you feel evil around your damn home. If you can't even feel the shit, you just caught off guard. You don't feel that shit. You don't feel an evil motherfucker around you lurking. That be them people that's like stuck. Like none of their chakras is open. It's all blocked. If you can't feel evil lurking, something wrong with you. That's why I told you, when I be feeling that shit, what do? I get my ass up and start doing my frequency, my spiritual watch. If you gonna send it, it's on my community board. On my about me. I ain't got time to be going back and forth. Money solve problems. Okay. Bye-bye. See you. That'll be one of them people that's stuck in the matrix. Not woke at all. It's about controlling money. Exactly. Hi, Vegas. Trees are the root of evil. Right. That's what I say. The tree of life, the tree of death. A lot of people chose the tree of death. A lot of people chose the tree of life. The ones that chose the tree of life is the ones that the death come after. You get what I'm saying? If you get it, those are the ones, they use the death tree to come after the people of life. Crazy. Yeah, you would feel that shit. Like, what the fuck? Money don't solve problems. It's people that's rich as fuck. And they be unaliving themselves. You know, like, because they don't got real friends. They only got people around them that want to use them for their money and their houses and be able to party and not use their own money. Get them a car, get them a house. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Come on, man. That's a fake. That's an illusion. Those are magicians. If you really want to look at it, that's a magician trick. Get money. You'll be happy. Get all this money and you'll be happy. Everybody's not. So what you're not telling is everybody's not going to get that money. Some of that money you stole from people that's supposed to have that money. Some people you stole that money from. Like, let's be honest. That's what they're not telling. Like, everybody's not going to have that type of money. So when you putting yourself out there like, oh, yeah, billionaire status, you watching these billionaires and half these billionaires ain't even fucking happy. Let's be honest. Some of these billionaires, even some of their chakras is blocked. But you know what they do? They go to people that's overseas. They do magic overseas. Get people to do magic for them overseas. They become billionaires. Not all of them, but most of them. They go overseas to get somebody to do some type of magic over them, and they get to get that money. You know what I'm saying? And then that's not good to do, because when you do magic, it's an illusion. And then after a certain amount of time, you fall, because you kept up that illusion. It's only so far you can keep that illusion going, especially when it's done off of magic. You know, if it's done off of magic, you ain't gonna keep it long. That's why you see a lot of these billionaires. I can't take it no more. And we like, what do you be looking at them like, what are you talking about? You got $1 billion something dollars. What do you mean you can't take it no more? What problems getting to you? You got all that money. You could buy anything. You could buy love. You could buy any fucking thing. Why buy love? After a while, that wear off. Because now you getting, you as being a spiritual being, as a human, you need real affection. You don't need somebody using you. You'll get to that point. That's what be driving you crazy. Like, this is not real love. This is not real love at all. This is just people using me and abusing me. It ain't funny, but that's the point. You just get to that point, like, when you got to go through a certain amount of years, and then you realize, like, yo, this shit ain't making me happy. I ain't getting real love. I ain't getting no real friendship. I ain't get nothing real out of this. So basically, this is all an illusion to me. That's so weird as fuck. I'm just telling you. That's the shit I be like. That's why, it's good to have my cars, my money, and all that. I was happy with it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't worship it. There's a difference between worshiping it and then you have to have it because, life. But you're not supposed to be out here worshiping these idols. When you start worshiping it, that's when there's a problem. I don't worship material shit. I know I gotta buy clothes. I know I gotta have a car. I know I gotta have, but first you gotta have body and soul right. Okay? You gotta have all that shit. Of course you gotta have that to live. You gotta have food. You gotta have that, but you don't worship it. That's what I'm trying. That's why I wanted to come back and tell y'all, because I forgot about it earlier. Millionaire or billionaires and still not happy. Yeah, exactly. Because they start thinking there ain't no real love. Whatever. Here, bye. You probably with Puff Daddy. You probably with that sex trafficking shit. Get off my shit. Real evil magic. Hey. Taking your kindness, using it for weakness. Yeah, exactly. And by the time it goes on for years before they even recognize, man, they ain't never had real friends, real family. They just was around for the money. And then when everything start, going away from them, or they start telling them no, that's when the real hate start. That's when it start. That's when once you tell them no, now you cutting us off. Peace, love, and light to you too. You cutting us off. That's when the real shit start. That's when it really start seeing these demons for who they are, what they was around for. Now they alone. Now they don't want to be bothered with nobody. Now, damn, they end up taking themselves out. Exactly, keeping up with the Joneses. But I just wanted, because I was trying to get to that, but I got interrupted. But anyway, I'm about to go cook and finish up hanging up my clothes and stuff. But love you. I'll be back for the membership read. Okay? Ta-ta.